Hey, what up, folks? Welcome to the Focus Page. It's me, Mr. P, and I'm going to be giving you my newest DVD review release. Now, in 2014, Marvel released a film about a space pirate, a green warrior princess, a talking tree, a wisecracking raccoon, and a built space warrior. And it was intended to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, on paper, this film didn't sound like much. But this film was released to critical and commercial success. It grossed over $750 million worldwide, and it turned out to be one of the highest grossing films of 2014, and it is a very, very good film. And I am talking about the epic that is Guardians of the Galaxy. Fast forward 3 years later, Marvel released the sequel, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, written and directed by James Gunn. Now, in this film, it explores the Guardians of the Galaxy universe a little bit better and a little bit further, and we learn more about Peter Quill's character, played by Chris Pratt. We learn about his parentage. In the early stages of the film, we see a young Kurt Russell befriend Peter Quill's mother. Fast forward 34 years later, we find out that the Guardians of the Galaxy crew have been entrusted to protect some batteries by Princess Aisha, who's part of this big high priestess or something. And we then learn that Rocket Raccoon has stolen one of the batteries. The Empire feel that they've been betrayed by the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they dispatch their whole army to go and chase them. A wonderful space chase ensues, followed by some cracking one-liners. Now the crew crash land onto another planet, and they meet a man there, played by Kurt Russell, who reveals himself to be Quinn's father. And we discover more about his parentage and how he was adopted. We also learn that Yondu, played by the excellent Michael Rooker, we learn that he abducted him in the first film, but he's not as bad as he makes out. And that there was no ulterior motive there. Without revealing too many plot about the story, there is more, there is so much more. It's not what everybody thought it was going to be. And that, without revealing too much of the film, that is pretty much the whole storyline revolving around the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, this film, being a sequel, it falls victim of the sophomore jinx. The first film was fresh, it was witty, it was funny. This film isn't as witty as the first film. There's a lot to keep you entertained. There's some cracking one-liners, great visual effects, great action sequences, some great comedic liners, but it's not as fresh as the first film. And I felt that the finale of the film, it dragged on a little bit. It wasn't as entertaining or as fast-paced as the first film. But, there's still a lot there for fans to be entertained by. Chris Pratt gives a wonderful charismatic performance as Star-Lord, as does Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista. They're all on excellent form as always. And in this film, each and every one of the characters, just like the first film, they get their chance to shine. They get their good one-liner moments, they get their laugh-out-loud moments, and there are some cracking moments in this film. Kurt Russell, he's Kurt Russell. He's one of the coolest actors around. He's been around for a very, very long time. He gives a really, really good performance as Quinn's father. And, the battle between the two at the end, without spoiling it, is really, really good, and we discover why. Bradley Cooper, who voices Rocket Raccoon, he was really, really good in this film. And again, he gives some really, really great comedic one-liners in this film. And I don't think he steals the show, but he wasn't as funny as in the first film, but there is enough to keep the cast and the people that are watching this film thoroughly entertained. And, one of my favourite parts about this film is there is a hilarious cameo from an iconic 80s actor. Without spoiling too much of this film, where I thought it was a really, really nice touch. I thought it was really, really funny, and I thought it was cleverly done. And again, that's the beauty of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it does what it says on the tin. That is to entertain you, and it does keep us thoroughly entertained. On the downside, I do feel that this film was a bit too long in places, and I felt that it dragged on a little bit. This film was about 2 hours and 16 minutes plus. And I felt that if you'd shaved off at least a good 10, 12 minutes from this film, you would have had a better film here. You would have had a stronger follow-up to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. But with that being said, it's still an entertaining watch, and it's still thoroughly entertaining. And in this sequel, we see some additional people brought into the film who may be part of this Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sylvester Stallone has a role in this film as one of the space pirates. You know, you've got, Stan Lee, as always, wouldn't be a Marvel film without Stan Lee. He does his cameo appearance in this film. And the way that this film ends, it ends with a lot of question marks. So I think it's pretty safe to say that there will be a sequel to this film. And rightly so. Because this film, again, grossed over $800 million. It is on DVD now. And again, I think any Marvel fan should have this film. And, part 3 has been scheduled to come out in 2020. And I think it will be really, really interesting. And I really can't wait to see how the Guardians of the Galaxy and the rest of the crew, how they link into Avengers Infinity. And if you've been living under a rock, Avengers Infinity is the amalgamation of all the Marvel characters, and they're going to come into this one epic film. The first one's going to be released in May of 2018, and I, for one, cannot wait to see that, as well as watching Black Panther, which is going to come out before that. And again, those films, they're definitely going to be reviewed. But I found Guardians of the Galaxy, despite being a bit long in places and not being as fresh as the original, I still found it to be a thoroughly entertaining film. So I will give Guardians of the Galaxy an 8 out of 10. Is it one for your DVD collection? Absolutely. Is it one to watch? Absolutely. If you want to laugh, you want to reminisce about some cracking old school 80s music, this film has it. And I definitely recommend that you watch it. So, that's my review. Tell me what you think about the review. What did you think about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Did you think it was as enjoyable as the first film? Do you think it was better than the first film? Feel free to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Please subscribe to this channel, and I shall see you on the next film review. Stay blessed. Peace.